Evening. So, as I was lying in bed last night, I had a really good idea, and that was to do a tier list, not just of Warhammer 40,000's factions in terms of rules, but in terms of lore. Alright? You all know how much of a lore person I am. So, in all honesty, please disregard anything that I'm saying in terms of rules. Okay? Rules have nothing to do with it. This is the lore. This is the story. These are the people who I feel are the best developed, who have the most fun time to read in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Right? Okay. So it is very opinion based. It is just me, just my opinion. Okay. But at the same time, I do feel like if you're trying to choose an army, this might be a good video to go over if you want to create fluffy armies. I know that's what I like to do. I like to create fluffy armies. I like armies that have a lot of story behind them. So, without further ado, I know more about some than others, by the way. Okay, that's another thing. I know quite a lot about the Warhammer 40,000 universe, but I know more about some than others. So, let's get started, because we don't want to be here all night, because Warhammer 40,000 has a lot of factions, because Games Workshop likes making money. So, first of all, Chaos Demons. Okay, so another thing, right, if I don't treat your army fairly, I apologise. I apologise, but at the same time, yeah, come on. Alright, so Chaos Demons. Chaos Demons are a bit of a support act, to be honest with you. They're only really, even in the Horus Heresy and stuff, you never really see things from the Demon's point of view. I think only in the book, The Master of Mankind, do we have a one-on-one, your first person see through the eyes of Drachnian as he's being born, and things like that, which is pretty cool. But at the same time, we don't really see anything from their own standard. They're a foil, alright? There is something for other people to kill. And whilst their models are really, really cool, this is a lore video. So, unfortunately, the Chaos Demons will be going down in D, in the D tier. Again, only because they are a support act. They are there for other people to kill them, even their own side, okay? You know, I'm not completely happy that they're in this position, because I do think that in terms of being cool, Chaos Demons are extremely cool. In terms of lore, they're very interesting, but they're not fleshed out in terms of, we don't know what their opinions are, we don't know what they want. Whenever they turn up in the setting, they're normally guiding people or corrupting people. We never hear from them in their own voice, is what I'm saying. So that's where they are. They are basically the Darkspawn. They are the cannon fodder of their setting, and so they are going in faction in tier list D. Adeptus Custodes, Henry Cavill's favourite faction. So the Custodes were going to be in D. Simply because we knew so little about them until only a few years ago, but only over the past few years they have been really fleshed out in books like Throne of Terror, things like that. So they also have a huge part to play in the Horus Heresy series too, which is absolutely fantastic. Whenever they turn up, it's pretty cool. I like their aesthetic. I like their lore now. The fact that they were fleshed out so much in the Master of Mankind as well, just like the Chaos Demons. But we got to see them from their own point of view. We got to see inside of their heads. You know, the character Ra, there, talking to the Emperor and being visited in his dreams by the Emperor and trying to fathom out a way to keep the Golden Throne from being overtaken by demons. Okay, so we now know a lot more about the Custodians than we used to. And so for that reason, they're actually going in B tier. Okay? Now, the reason why they're not anywhere further up, again, this isn't a power level, this is how interesting they are in the lore. The reason why they are in B tier is because, how do I put this? Whilst they're very cool, they're not necessarily that interesting. These blokes have been standing around the Imperial Palace for 10,000 years, not doing very much. So they have jumped up from D to B simply because the Horus Heresy books have pulled them out of the mire a little bit. And the Constantine Valdor books have also shed a lot of light. I love the fact that they do almost like the Olympic Games, where they have Custodes one Custodes tries to infiltrate the palace to test its defences. I love that. More of that, please. Okay, more personality. And let the Custodes get out there and do stuff in the current timeline. God damn it. I'm just sitting there doing nothing. We know Gilliman told them to get out there, so let's see it. Alright? Salamanders. In terms of lore, Salamanders are hilarious. They are the guys who are genuinely suicidal. They go out and they try and find the last man standing, knock down, drag out battles in which to fight, and they generally try to sacrifice themselves for the citizenry of the Imperium. I think that's kind of cool. And I like the fact that they're one of the only Space Marine chapters who do that. Vulcan is also extremely cool. He has a big part. In fact, I'm going to say right now, jump my levels for a minute, yeah. I'm going to say right now that I think GW did Vulcan dirty. So far at least. All he does is, in Old Earth, he's quite cool. In the War of the Beast, he's also really cool. Like, he comes back, but he ends up sacrificing himself, as Salamanders are wont to do. But in terms of the Horus Heresy, they did him dirty. He just keeps getting beaten up. And he's a perpetual, so he keeps just coming back, which is pretty badass in itself. But yeah, the Salamanders were at the Istvan, the Drop Site Massacre. They were there. They were one of the legions that were absolutely decimated there, which is pretty awful. And from there, they suffer a lot. But one thing I will say, the reason why they're not in the upper tiers is simply because a lot of these legions, a lot of these chapters have their heyday in the Horus Heresy. We know most about them from the Horus Heresy, apart from the Ultramarines, of course. But we know most about them from the Horus Heresy books. And the Salamanders, whilst the Iron Hands have Shadrach Meduson, and whilst the Raven Guard have, what's his name? Not Shrike. It'll come to me when I get there. Whilst the Raven Guard have their own really cool person in the Broken Legions, the Salamanders don't. So they've been pretty much left by the wayside, which I really don't like. That's why they're only in A tier. They're in A tier because I really like the fact that they're out to just protect people. They're out to save people. I like that. I really like that about them. They're in A tier because, unfortunately, they're done a bit dirty. Alright? That they've been left to their own devices somewhat. I love the Forge Fathers. I love the fact that they're really good at making stuff. But at the same time, all the Legions do it better. All the Legions do what the Salamanders do better. Iron Hands, for example. Okay? Love the flames, love the iconography. Just we need more. We need them to have more of their own voice in the Horus Heresy series. Fortunately, I think it's a bit too late now. But hey, that's where we are. Orcs, right? So, Orcs as a thing are awesome. They are, of the non-Imperial factions, they're probably one of my most favourite, if not my favourite faction in the game. And the fact that they can think things into existence, such as their numbers and their sheer belief in that the warp sort of bends to their will and things just happen. So if an orc thinks that the colour red makes his truck go faster, then the colour red will make his truck go faster. I love that. I love the fact that I once had a friend in university who was a big orc player, and we discussed. He said, no, the orcs are like the most happy, joyous, friendly faction in the entire game. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, think about it. The orcs are happiest when they're at war. And they make sure that everyone else is at war. So they're trying to spread their culture. They're trying to spread their happiness. At least they're more honest than the Tau in that respect. And I do kind of agree with him on that one. Gazkul's been in a lot of books himself. And the orcs, whilst they do fall into the Chaos Demon trap of being quote-unquote fodder for everyone else to fight and beat, they have enough about their own culture and their own gods and Gork and Mork to actually stand out more than the Chaos Demons. Okay, they do have their own. They have different sects. You know, so they have people who are there simply to, you know, they have teeth, things like that. So they pay for things in teeth. And we know how their hierarchy works. Then we know how wars between orcs work. We know how space hulks work and how they can smash them into planets and stuff. They're just great. And for that, I'm going to actually put them in S tier. They are the first S tier, not S plus, simply because they're a cannon fodder set in the actual setting. Now, before I do the next one, I just want to check what this guy's name is. Raven Guard. Let's see. Characters. There we go. Nicona Sharokin. That was the one. Which is probably one of the greatest names ever made by Games Workshop. So, the Raven Guard, extremely cool. And this is why the Salamanders are an A tier, basically, because you have people like the Raven Guard who are emo, yes, but also they are a lot more fleshed out than the Salamanders are. They get their own stuff. Like Sharokin, for example, who I if I'm not mistaken, drills Fulgrim between the eyes with a sniper rifle at one stage, killing him. Right? He comes back, but he kills him, stone dead. Right? He kills him. He's then brought back by Slanesh, but he does kill him. That's a confirmed kill for just a normal Marine, which is crazy when you're looking at a Primarch level. So, yeah, Raven Guard, extremely cool lore. I love how stealthy they are. I love the mod. I love the way the models look. I love the only thing that keeps them from being in S plus tier is Korax himself. You know, the way he goes out, quoting Edgar Allan Poe and then just driving into the Eye of Terror, it's so cliche and it's so convenient just to get him out of the storyline for a while. I just hate that stuff. I really hate it when Games Workshop that has two characters fight each other and they both do very well and then they just part ways. What? I hate that. I really do. I really hate it. It's one of the main things I don't like about writing stories about people like this in a setting, is that they just can't die. Abaddon can't die. You know, if Abaddon and Eldrad fight each other, you know none of them are going to die. You know, they're not going to kill them off. You know, so... And it's the same with Raven Guard, is that the reason why Korax disappears that way is because they need to get him out of the setting and they didn't want to kill him. So they just made him disappear. They made him drive into the Eye of Terror. That's lame. That's lame as. Again, we don't know as much about the Raven Guard as we do about other Space Marine chapters 2, which is probably why they're going in S tier. Only just as well. They are hovering around S and A tier. The one man who gets them into S tier is Sharokin, okay? Because I know I forgot his name before, but he's one of my favourite characters in the Horus Heresy novels. This is the guy who can avoid detection by anything, and I love that. I love the fact that you can walk through ships and walk right past them, and that happens a few times in the Horus Heresy novels. Sorry, taking a drink there. It may seem like I'm going on about the Horus Heresy novels quite a lot. I'm afraid that's simply because most of the Space Marine chapters have a lot of their history through the Horus Heresy. It just is what it is. Harlequins. Controversial. I don't know that much about Harlequins. Eldar I know more about, so I'm going to put these with the Eldar, okay? So where are the Eldar? So the Eldar craft worlds are over here. Alright, okay, so... Eldar craft worlds. So... One second. There we go. Just making sure that all the levels are fine. So yeah, Eldar Craft World. So I would actually say, in terms of how in-depth lore is, I think this is one of those that is completely extensive. We know a lot about these people. They have had books to themselves. They have a lot of books to themselves. They are completely present in the Horus Heresy. Okay, we learn a lot about their culture even through like the webway and things like that. Okay, and every single time they turn up as the enemies, and like the orcs and the demons, every single time they turn up as the enemies to the Imperium, we always tend to see their point of view too, which I really like. One of my favourite scenes in all of 40k fiction is when Eldrad is talking to Fulgrim, and he already knows Fulgrim is sort of falling towards chaos a little bit, and tries to pull him back round again. I really like that. I really like the fact that he tried to avert disaster there. I don't like the fact that the Avatar of Cain is basically used as a beating stick. He's basically used to prove the power level of other characters. So, you know, if you need a character to look badass, he just beats an Avatar of Cain. You know, it's a bit crappy. But the Eldar do turn up in pretty much everything from the Eisenhorn novels. Okay, their worlds turn up, their Chrome worlds turn up there. Okay. Their culture is extremely interesting, okay? Certain parts of it pseudo-Japanese with the aspect warriors and people like that, but certain parts of it extremely elvish, of course, but impossibly ancient. You know, these people who were created by the Old Ones, they go back that far. And the fact that the entire 40k setting is essentially there by the Eldar's fault. It's all their fault. They basically murder-raped the god Slash into existence, which spent all of the energy in the warp to make it calm again. And that's basically when the Imperium started to branch out and reclaim all the stars, because obviously the Eldar had inadvertently stopped all the warp storms by using up all that energy. Alright, they're the ones who put the energy there, but that's what it is. So this is the first S+ tier. Okay, these are the first S+ tiers, simply because they're foundational to the hobby. If you take the Eldar away, a lot of things about the setting stop making sense. That's why I love the Eldar, okay? Beyond all of their cool models and cool samurai swords and amazing psychic powers, okay? That's one of the main things I like them for. The fact that if you take them away, they're one of the backbone pillars. If you take them away, the whole thing collapses. Alright. White Scars. Space Marine Mongolians. I really want to... Yeah, you know what? They're going up there. Simply because of Jagatai Khan at the Siege of Terra. Okay? I loved him charging into the Death Guard. It was one of the best scenes. I was actually sitting in an Uber at the time when I was listening to it. When he's riding in there against that Mortarion and the Death Guard with all of his dudes. And every other Primarch there, including Sanguinius, thinks he's immediately dead. There's no way he's getting out of that. And of course he does, because he's just effing awesome. I love how stoic he is, and I love his put-down one-liners. You know, the line of Fulgrim saying to him, "I hear you do strange things to your bikes." And Jagatai Khan says, "Well, I hear you do strange things to your warriors." Right, okay. He's just a master of zingers. I like how, in fact, I think they use his aloofness, not aloofness, but they use his mysterious nature as a strength, which I really, 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 really like. I really like that they did that with Jagatai Khan. They use that as a strength. They see him, they show him conversing with the Emperor, and they're quite awkward with each other because they're quite similar. They both have larger goals in life that they want to go and get. They're not really that bothered, okay? That they want to go and do their own thing. So I really like the White Scars. I really like the aesthetic and what they're meant to do. These are guys who I love the hunts that they declare to go out and get someone who has thwarted the chapter for a while. The master of the hunt goes out, claims their head, and pulls it back to the homeworld. I love that. I love the Mongolian essence of it. I love the nomadic essence of it. And I love how cheerful they are as well. White Scars are generally quite cheerful, which is very unnerving, but also extremely cool. 40k is a very serious setting, and it's nice to have people like the White Scars who rise above people thinking that they're barbarians and stuff. So S+ tier for me. Alright, Chaos Knights. I'm going to put Chaos Knights and Knights in the same. Where are they? Are they around here somewhere? There we go, Imperial Knights. So Imperial Knights, see, I mean, I like them. They're just there. You know, they're a really cool, archaic form of technology, but they don't really have stories of their own, right? They're normally addendum to other armies and things like that, so that's where they go. Sorry, moving on. Tyranids. See again, mainly because they're basically xenomorphs. It's not an original idea. Nothing in 40k is original idea, but they're really not original. I love their biomorphing. I love the fact that there's this huge biomass going through the galaxy. But again, they're another fodder army. You're never going to hear them from their own point of view, and that's why I'm going to come over to the Gene Stealer cult over here. Where are they? They were over here somewhere. Let's come past them. There we go. Gene Stealer cults are going to go in B for that very reason, is that we do see them from their own. They are another fodder for the good guys, but we do see them from their own point of view from time to time, and it shows the Tyranids actually warping into and festooning and warping natural DNA, which I really like. It's really good body horror imagery there. That's what I love about the Gene Stealer cults. That's why they go in B tier. Death Guard. Death Guard are... Oh, there's another one that does this. Oh no. I'm gonna S, sorry. S tier, simply because most of their, what am I going to say? Most of their offense is one-dimensional, okay? It's about plagues and about being really hard to kill. I like that. I like Mortarian's character. I like the fact that he's so tough. I like the fact that he's so rugged and hard to beat. I like the fact that he was never meant to be a traitor in the first place. That was really, really cool. Or in fact that he was kind of meant to be a traitor, but he wasn't never meant to be as he was. You know, he was corrupted. He's one of these unfortunate souls who had his entire legion corrupted from underneath him. And that's why he's there in S tier. He's not an S plus, simply because he's become somewhat of a cackling villain, and I don't really like that. I don't really like the fact he's just a guy who just cackles and, you know, like, you know, he's the foil of Guilliman. He's there to be beaten up by Guilliman, and I don't like that. I need to see him. I mean, even Drago beat this guy. Come on. Drago's not a Primarch. We need to give Mortarion more time in the sun for him to get into S plus tier. He needs to have, and these aren't people that I dislike, by the way. When you're further down the list, I don't dislike you. I think you need more love, to be honest with you. And Mortarion needs more love. He has an amazing model, but this is the lore video. He needs to have more love in the lore. All right, Games Workshop needs to stop mistreating their villains. Space Wolves. I really don't like Space Wolves. This is a personal thing. I don't like Space Wolves. I think they're very one-dimensional. I think they're very... we are Space Vikings, and we are very arrogant, and we are very brash. And essentially they're... Oops, sorry. Essentially they are... They never really follow orders. They never really do anything. And Lehman Russ, sorry, in the Horus Heresy, nearly effed things up for everybody by going off to try and fight Horus on his own and show off. You know, if he was at Terra, I honestly think things would have been very, very, very different. And because he wasn't there, they weren't. The Emperor ended up on the Golden Throne, and it's all Lehman Russ's fault. So for that, they're going in S tier. Again, still very, very good. They have extensive lore. They have several really in-depth characters. Logan Grimnar, for example, Ragnar Blackmane, Bjorn the Full-Handed. They've almost given too much love in the Horus Heresy, right? They're everywhere in the Horus Heresy, the Space Wolves. And the fact that, you know, the burning of Prospero 2, complete bullshit. You know, he didn't even look into the fact that it was a bit weird that his brother was asking him to kill another brother. Kind of strange. Didn't look into it, went off and did it anyway. And then because he was embarrassed, you know, nearly tanked the entire war by going after the guy who lied to him. So, S tier for me. And you know what? You know, he refused order from the Grey Knights, and then my favourites go, so fuck that guy. Alright. Chaos Space Marines and the Dark Angels right next to each other. Convenient. So Chaos Space Marines, obviously S tier. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because they have an innate advantage in the fact that, let's be honest, they have a lot of legions in that Chaos Space Marine bracket that aren't actually here. The Thousand Suns are, but everyone else isn't. So, and for me, they're in S plus tier simply because the World Eater's lore is extremely cool and extensive. You know, I love the give and take between Angron and Aurelian, right? Those two were just, you know, Lorgar and Angron were just so good going off of each other that you wouldn't think that originally, but it was so good seeing them there, seeing them do their own thing, and seeing Angron ascend as well, because that's quite a tragic story in itself. And Angron's story could have gone in so many different ways. Like, if the Emperor had just been like, do you know what? I don't want you to die in that last stand, so how about I give you your legion? There you go. Your legion will now fight in your last stand with you. That sort of a thing. You know? That's fine. He probably would have been fine by the stage, but, you know, whatever. Fine. The Butcher's Nails do their work, and that's how it goes. Lorgar, loved the First Heretic, loved that book. Lorgar almost drags these guys out on his own. Okay? Simply because he's not done anything in 10,000 years. He's sat in this tower just praying the entire time. You know, but they are the original Chaos Space Marines. You know, they do have a really cool lore in the Horus Heresy, okay? Lorgar is a petulant little child who tries to... Who basically tanks the entire rebellion by trying to take over the rebellion from within. Love them, love the World Eaters, love the Word Bearers, and who else is in there? The Iron Warriors, Perturabo, can't forget them. Probably my favourite traitor legion, just for the dogged determination that they have. As a British person, you gotta love the Iron Warriors. They're just absolutely rock hard, and they just refuse to back down or not, or to be taken lightly. You know, they are the foot sloggers. They are the unsung guys, and I really like, you know, underrated armies, and that is one of them. So Perturabo is one of them. Who else was in that bracket? Is that it? Because I know Thousand Suns have their own little slot here. Do you know what? Thousand Suns go up there as well, with Magnus the Red. Okay, they go up there as well. Simply because of the Magnus the Red story is phenomenal and extremely cool. And the Thousand Suns themselves are very, very, very tragic. They're a downfall and legion who gave birth to the Blood Ravens, and no one can convince me any differently. But yeah, really cool psychers, and again, Emperor's Children too. Fulgrim is in there, not down here obviously because they don't have their own army book, but he is in Chaos Space Marine. So yeah, Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children, effed up psychos, you know, love their house music. Again, there's so many different flavours to Chaos Space Marines that you just can't go wrong. If you want to be a bad guy, that's the way to go for me. You know, I will get a Chaos Biker army at one stage, a Renegade Biker army. And the Renegades go in there too. There are lots of cool Renegades, Astral Claws, you know, Bad Ab War, cool, awesome stories. S tier all the way, alright? Dark Angels, they will go with the Chaos Brethren. No, they won't. They're going in the S tier. Simply because, again... One thing I really hated of their lore, and gonna have to be honest with you, Luther turning against the Imperium and there being like a mini Horus Heresy at the Rock, at Caliban, basically just makes me think that it's almost like they wanted their own little Horus Heresy. I know it sounds stupid, but you know, we've already had this massive Horus Heresy battle, you know. And then here comes Lionel Johnson, and he has to have his own, doesn't he? He just has to do his own thing, and you know, and it's just, you know, how can half of your legion turn to chaos? Go fuck yourselves. I really love, you know, the Fallen and the Unforgiven storyline. I think that's really cool. I think the knightly aesthetic's really cool, but I also think that, you know, they are a giant bunch of hypocrites, and I don't trust them. as far as I can throw them. I love Lionel Johnson as a character, even though he's an arrogant F. You know, he's an arrogant fucktard. So not hugely into him as a person. I do like him as a character and his aesthetic. But he is overly arrogant. But again, they are knights. So there you go. I love their aesthetic. I love their lore. But it's not S tier simply for the fall of Caliban. There were so many other ways you could do it, rather than just copying the Horus Heresy again. Does it have to be another smaller Siege of Terror? We've just seen the massive Siege of Terror. Why do we need to see a smaller one with one legion there? No. There were far better ways of doing that, of doing the fall of half of the Dark Angels than the way they did it. So that's why it's an S tier. And not S plus tier. Drukhari. Oof. Ooh. Oh God. S. For their characters. Hastrabel, Vect, Lilith, for their characters. They are maniacally, wantonly evil, and hilariously so. And they are space pirates, and Kamora's great. I love everything I hear about Kamora. They're almost too evil, which is why they're not in S plus tier. We don't know as much about them as do the Craftworld Eldar, quite frankly. And I think that's because once you get past the evilness, I think Games Workshop sort of gave up and went, what else is there? They just love debauchery. Alright, cool. Well, they're going S tier then, not S plus, even though I really love them. Adeptus Sororitas. Sisters of Battle. Ooh. In terms of their overall lore, I'm going to put them in A. Simply because we don't know that much about them. Alright? Their army books have been few and far between, unfortunately. They need more love. In fact, no, I'm going to put them down in B tier. Because they're basically like the Custodes. They are in exactly the same boat as the Custodes. They stick around on Terra quite a lot. They don't do very much. And we haven't seen as much of them as I'd like to see. To be honest with you. In fact, nowhere near as much as I'd like to see. I think that they need a lot more love. I know that there's more stuff coming out for them. I know that there are plans in the works to bring out more books. But the books we have had are very short. And they focus on central characters, not the overall makeup of the Sisters of Battle and what they do and how they operate. Sisters of Silence are kind of in there, but they're not really. Okay, then Sisters of Silence were in the Horus Heresy extensively, which is really cool. And I love the first person perspective of the Sisters of Silence in I think it's in Saturnine. That was really cool. But they're not Sisters of Battle. So B tier, they need more love. Iron Hands. Yeah, S. They basically do exactly what the Salamanders do, but better. They're better at the forge, they're better at making things. And they're ironic because they've fallen away from what Ferrus Manus would have wanted for them. Ferrus Manus really valued flesh and having your own skills in your own body. Whereas the Iron Hands have gone the other way because he was dead, because he died. And in their grief, they've gone the other way and said the flesh is weak, and they've cut off their own arms and have plastered loads of machinery on there. Their relationship to Adeptus Mechanicus is really fun. And I really, really, really like them. So that's why they're going up in there. I'm speeding this up a little bit because I'm running out of time. But yeah, so the Iron Hands are in S tier. Ferrus Manus, cool character, wasn't in it for very long. But Shadrach Meduson pulls them up from A to B tier. He pulls them right up there. And their aesthetic's really cool, and their lore is really, really, really cool. The fact that they basically led the Shattered Legions, I really like that. I really like that their underdog story there. So they're an S. Tau. Unfortunately, C. Now, this isn't because I don't like them. Alright? I love feudal Japanese lore in all of its myriad forms. We don't know that much about them. the books that we've had, again, are focused on single characters, like Shadow's Son and people like that. They are very cool characters, but about the Tau culture itself, we've only really had the army books, and whilst they are very interesting, and then talking about expansion waves and different castes, they resemble the Eldar quite a lot, and they haven't really got that much to differentiate themselves from the Eldar. Okay, apart from the fact that they don't interact with the warp at all. For me, that makes them less interesting, not more interesting. We have not really seen a fatal flaw in the Tau. The really cool thing about most Warhammer 40,000 factions is that they all have their own fatal flaw. They all have something that makes them not good. The fact that the Tower Empire just say, we're the good guys, and have no real law backing that up. You know, they brainwash people, for God's sake. I've heard them being called space communists and stuff. I wouldn't go that far. But we need more from them. We need to have book series on the Tau. We need to see what their culture looks like on the ground level. What do their worlds look like? What do their caste systems look like on a day-to-day basis? All right. What does the ancient history look like? Okay. What do they believe? Why are they expanding? Do they need more living space? I mean, what is this? You know, what do they need? What do they want? A lot of people will point to the Shadow Sun books, and again, they are very, very cool. But at the end of the day, they focus on that one character, and even that one character is chased down by Deathwatch. I mean, it's more about the Deathwatch than that one character, and it's, come on, more love, please, more love to the Tau. All right, so I'm going to skip Grey Knights for now. I'm going to come back to them. Let's we'll do Space Marines and Ultramarines together. Space Marines, well, they've got to go in S tier, okay, because of the sheer amount of factions you can make, the sheer amount of chapters you can make that you can write yourself, the sheer amount of really cool chapters that are out there. Crimson Fists, for instance, Imperial Fists that are on here, you know. All these amazing cool legions that haven't got their own books, but are extremely fun to come across and play as. Each Space Marine book is essentially, I would say, required reading for anybody new to the hobby. All right, it will get you in there. You'll be able to create your own army and do something really interesting with it. That may be the Games Workshop manager in me saying that, but they are basically made to make sure that people have a good time when they start the hobby. Essentially, they're easy to paint. Their lore is really extensive. Okay, you know, there are so many different chapters out there that it's just, you know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So for the sheer choice involved, and with the sheer myriad nature of the Space Marines and how they come about and how their home worlds forge them and how they can get there, and how their glands and then their different defects can set them off in different ways. You know, like the Black Dragons, people like that. That's why they're in S tier. Okay, the sheer amount of choice. Ultramarines. Okay, they don't need more love, I will say that, but they are extremely bland. They're going in B. You need a flaw to get into the top tiers here. You need a flaw, and they don't have one. They simply don't. They are the poster boys, they are the normal Marines, and Gilliman puts them in B, they would be in C. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that one. Gilliman puts them in B, they would be in C. Gilliman is the driving force of the narrative right now on the good guy Imperium side, so they go in B. Deathwatch, extremely cool, A, all the way. There are many Deathwatch novels, they turn up in Eisenhorn too. I love the fact that they're basically a mongrel legion from all of these different chapters. They are an extremely cool unit. They're extremely cool in the way that they hunt down aliens and they have really advanced tech weaponry, things like that. I love the fact that when people go back to their chapters when they've been in the Deathwatch, they're allowed to keep that cool silver arm. Love it. You know, actually, S for characters. All right, we have basically one Artemis. That's basically the only one we have in terms of characters. It's very cool, and he turns up in the Tower books quite a lot, but that's it. Alright, more characters, more love, and they'll be an S+ tier. Alright, Astra Militarum, S+, not even thinking about that one. The sheer amount of regiments that are there, the Valhallans, the Vestroyans, you know, Commissar Yarek. You got the sheer hopelessness of what it is to be a man, be a normal person in the Warhammer 40,000 universe in one army. Love it. I love their aesthetic. Love the fact that you can basically make them wherever you want. They can be trench warfare specialists. They can be, you know, and they tend to take their cues from different parts of human history, which I really, really, really love. So that's why they are an S+ tier. Also, 1 second. Also, Death Corps of Krieg are one of my favourite armies in terms of aesthetic and mentalists. Just riding around on horses, I love it. Adeptus Mechanicus. A. They would be in B because of Cole and his link to Guilliman. But they are an A simply because of their aesthetic and simply because of the extensive backstory that they have in the Horus Heresy novels. These guys are in basically every single novel. Every single piece of technology you see is because of these guys. Every single piece of cool armor that you see is because of these guys. And so, and every single time they turn up, that they can be quite funny. And so yeah, I would say that the way they venerate Mars and the Mars priesthood and things like that, very interesting stuff. I love the 50s aesthetic. They're going in A. All right, Necrons. It's A or S. Do you know what? Because of Trans in the Infinite, they're going in S. I love that character. I love just how he just nicks things, just steals things, and that's just where he is. Yeah, I love him. I love the Egyptian aesthetic of the Necrons. I love that how they've gotten so much more of a personality as the series has gone on, and I love how Games Workshop have done this without really giving them their own books. That's the power of army books right there, right? You know, so these guys turn up in other people's stories, and they're almost like Doom Guy from the Doom series. They don't say anything, they don't do much, but the things that they do give them so much personality. That's what I like about them. So their aesthetic's really cool. What they want is really cool. Okay, they just want to rule the galaxy. They don't want to, you know, they don't want to harvest all life. They just want to make new Necrons, rule the galaxy. They are the most ancient race too. So the fact that they go all the way back to the very beginning is also incredibly cool. You know, they're Egyptian Terminators. What can I say? You know, and the fact that the Games Workshop have been clever enough to not give them their own book series because they need to be mysterious, but through the eyes of everyone else, you've seen them get more of a personality as different books have been using them. Genius. Really well done to Games Workshop for that. Second to last, Blood Angels. Yeah, because of recent books, they're going in S+ tier. They are an extremely extensively moulded and fleshed out chapter. They were at the Horus Heresy. They're all the way through the Horus Heresy novel books, and they don't hog the limelight like some other legions and chapters that we've seen. And you know, Sanguinius makes a heroic sacrifice at the end of the series. Love it. And you know, their aesthetic's really good. They don't hog the limelight from anyone else. You know, technically, the World Eaters and the Space Wolves are better Assault Marines than they are technically, I guess, unless the Black Rage comes down. And again, they have that flaw, and that's why they're in S+ tier. They have that flaw. Okay, that's why they're up there. Love them. Last but not least, my boys, Grey Knights. Oops. No. Okay, they're not going in there. Go on, off. Well, okay. They're going to go. I bet you that caught a few people out. I'm going to put them... They would be an S, but because I love them that much, they're going in S+. They do have a flaw. Okay, their flaw is that they are low on number, they're extremely proud, and they always want to keep themselves a secret. And so they commit vast atrocities in the name of the Imperium of Man all the time. I love that they have their own books, okay? They have Castellan Crow books and things like that. One thing they don't have is very many characters to get your teeth into, okay? Khal Drogo's been away for a long time now. They need to go and bring him back more permanently, give him a reason for being in the universe a lot more, and go on from there. But the Grey Knights themselves, the aesthetic's amazing. There's backstory, it's phenomenal when you go back through the Horus Heresy. One thing I didn't really like was Janus was the first Grandmaster being like a, you know, a dude with a shattered part of the soul of Magnus the Red in there. You could have just given it to Loken, for God's sake. Just give it to Loken. Just let him do it, all right? Or Garrow, someone. Let one of them do it. Someone relatable. But again, their aesthetic, their lore, they've had books on them now for a long time. And in terms of overall coolness, I would actually put them up there in S tier, okay? They deserve to be an S tier, not S+. They're simply an S+ because I just want them to be there. I really like them. Okay? They need a new model range too, god damn it. I want some Primaris. I want us to stop making really expensive Primaris Grey Knights and just have Primaris Grey Knights. Well, that's it. Those are my opinions on basically everybody, and again, this is in terms of lore. This is not in terms of anything else. What do you think? Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? I don't know. Let me know, and I'll speak to you next time. See you later.